while back when I was 14 or so, a group of friends and I went out downtown to do a bit of a cosplay photo shoot. We were all dressed pretty crazy, so it wasn't a huge surprise that it drew a bit of attention. Not a big deal, really. We were cool with answering questions about what we were doing and all. We went to a market at the center of downtown for lunch, and once we finished, half of us went to the washroom, and the others waited outside the market and began discussing the best places to take photos. A man approaches us, wanting to know if there was an event going on and why we were dressed the way we were. A second, older man also approached us, standing next to the first guy, and just listens to our conversation. As our conversation dies down, the older man begins to act kind of weird, fidgeting and twitching awkwardly and looking around quickly. Then he smiles at me very creepily and asks if he could kiss me. My immediate reaction as a 14-year-old boy with major anxiety is to quietly say, "No thank you," and hope that was the end of it. It wasn't. The older man takes a step towards me and asks again, adding a please. My friends asked the other younger man if he knew this guy and if they could please leave us alone. The guy apologizes and says he doesn't know this dude, but tries to tell him he should leave us alone. The older man is having none of it, ignoring everyone and taking another step towards me, now demanding that I let him kiss me. I said no again, taking a step back, and suddenly the guy nearly lunges at me. I bolt back to the market, trying to hide in the large crowd, making my way upstairs and collapsing in a corner to cry because that whole experience was absolutely horrifying to me. My friends eventually found me, calmed me down, and we decided that the market wasn't a safe place to be for the moment, so we left, walking to a mall about 7 to 8 blocks away. We walk around for a bit, and finally enjoying myself and calm down, until I turn around to see the same old creep from earlier walking about 10 feet behind us. As soon as he notices I saw him, he gives me the same creepy smile and begins to walk faster. We all ran off, finally losing him, and decided it would just be best to go home and do this photo shoot another day somewhere safer. So, to the guy who tried to kiss me and stalk me for a solid 4 hours around downtown, I'm glad I haven't seen you since, and I hope to never meet you again. Several years ago, I was in a bit of a financial pickle. I was 21 with shitty job history, a shitty job, and shitty credit. You know, like most 21-year-olds. My living situation went sideways, and I had temporarily moved back home with my folks. As anyone who has ever had to move back home as an adult will tell you, this was a terrible, horrible situation, and I was in a rush to get back out on my own, which is why, when my best friend, similar position in life at the time, told me that an apartment had opened up at her shady-ass complex, I actually jumped at it. If you're from around here, then you'll know that every apartment complex in town is kind of shadester. But for those of you not from here, this place is a shady non-town, outside of another non-town, with more liquor stores than any other establishment, and several apartment complexes with no credit checks and same-day move-ins. A couple months went by, and while the cops did occasionally show up in our parking lot, and you had to watch your step for more than one broken bottle, it wasn't the worst place to live. I worked the night shift at a large retailer, shuffling around freight in the back, hating every minute of every shift. One night, while I trudged up and down a ladder like a zombie at work, my cell phone fell out of my back pocket at the top of the ladder. I grabbed at it, obviously missing, and died a little as I saw it smack to the ground and go black. No amount of restarting or shaking could fix it. The LCD was completely shot. Fucking fuck, I thought to myself, and decided that this was a good enough reason to go home mid-shift. Remember that thing I said about shitty job history? Yeah, you can clearly see why. Driving home at 3 a.m. on some random weekday, night shifters know how weird it is keeping track of actual days of the week. I turned onto the dark back road that led to my apartment building. I saw something faintly up ahead in the road and immediately think it's someone's dog. I pulled up slower, praying that I wasn't coming up on someone's dead pet, and saw that there was actually a teenage boy laying on the side of the road, waving. There was a bike laying in the dirt next to him. Holy shit. The kid saw me and jumped up, weaving towards the driver's side of my car. Now, I may have made a lot of poor decisions at this point in my life, but thankfully, I hadn't gone completely brain dead. I suddenly thought of all the warnings to young women about how serial killers and rapists would lure girls in by playing to their kind hearts. I locked the car doors, but cracked the driver's side window. Are you okay? What happened? Let me get some help.
I got hit by a car. They fucking left me. I need help.
The kid looked dazed and was scuffed up, but something about him also set my nerves on edge. I'm going to call for help, okay? I grabbed my cell phone and then remembered the damn thing was basically useless due to its ladder plunge. My cell phone is broken, but I live nearby, okay? I'll get help. I hoped he didn't think I was lying, but then I didn't care. The kid slammed his hand against my car.
Just let me in. I need help now.
I felt torn. I wasn't going to let this kid into my car, but at the same time, I couldn't blame him. If I was scared and hurt, I would probably be frantic too. The kid slammed his hand against the car again, and I started driving. I hadn't been exaggerating. It was a 30-second drive to my apartment. I didn't have a landline, and I didn't want to somehow lead this kid into my empty apartment with no way of calling for help. I saw my best friend's boyfriend's car parked in her spot and immediately was thankful for the stroke of luck. I ran up the steps to her apartment and began banging on the door. Roy answered the door, probably expecting a crazy person, and was immediately even more alarmed to see me. What's going on? Why aren't you at work? I breathlessly explained that some kid had been hit by a car off the back road, but my cell phone wasn't working and that I needed him to come back with me. Melanie, my best friend, emerged from her room, sleepy and equally confused. Roy immediately took charge, told us both to get in the car, and drove us back to the boy. The kid was still there, waving us down. Roy, a large man, Mel, and myself all got out of the car.
Help! I need help.
I'm here to help. My friend saw you and came and got me, okay? Calm down.
I got jumped by this gang, man. They beat me up and stole my backpack and rode off.
The kid said frantically. I immediately became alarmed. That's not what he told me at all. I looked at Mel, my face clouding over. I thought you got hit by a car. Why did the gang jump you?
What? Yeah, they beat me up, and then someone hit me with a car.
Plausible. I was still confused, though. Roy also seemed wary at this change in the story. Listen, man, let me call an ambulance, okay? Can you tell me your name? The kid lost his shit. He screwed his face up and clenched his fists, hitting the sides of his head.
No, no, no. Just let me in the car, man. Just take me to your house.
Roy was done. That's not happening, kid. I'll call an ambulance and the police, and I can wait with you until they get here, but we can't bring you back with us. The kid slapped the side of his head some more, and then the most disturbing thing I've ever seen, grabbed fistfuls of his shaggy hair and began pulling it out of his scalp. That sound is still the most disgusting and alarming thing I've ever heard. Roy gave Mel and I "get the fuck out" face, and we jumped back in the car. I'm calling the police, okay? I'll tell them you've been hurt and you need an ambulance." Roy began dialing, and the kid began stomping around and screaming.
"Take me to your house. Just let me get in the car. Why won't you take me home? Fuck you, fuck you."
The kid stood in the street, blood trickling from where he'd torn up his scalp. Roy got back in the driver's seat and spoke with the cops as the kid raged outside. He then came to the window, staring so intently at us that I felt like my skin had shriveled up and fallen off. He began kicking the tires, and Roy, clearly fucking over it, drove off, the kid grabbing frantically at the back of the car. Roy drove past our turn around Peters Creek twice to avoid leading the kid to our apartment complex, and then back down our road. The kid was gone. The bike, the kid, just gone. No idea where he took off to. Clumps of his hair were still on the road. We never saw the kid again. We searched the papers and internet to see if he had been picked up or if any other strange things had taken place that night, but nothing else ever showed up. What confuses me still about it all is why he would demand to come back with all three of us. One person could obviously be easily overtaken, but what the hell were his plans for all three of us? This happened a long time ago, about 10 years or so, but I never forgot about it, and it still gives me the chills. By the way, I'm not a native English speaker, so I apologize for any mistakes. I, 33 female, was in my early 20s. At the time, I had a female dog named Nina, a boxer. She passed away when she was 8 from lung cancer. I miss her a lot. Nina was very energetic, so I took her for long walks around the neighborhood, usually at the end of the day, around 4 to 6 p.m., when it wasn't too hot, but not too dark either. One thing you must know about Nina is that she loved people. She did not get along with other dogs, but every time she saw someone walking by us, she would shake her tail and want to get closer to ask for pets. One day, we went on our walk as usual. Everything was fine for most of it. I saw a few other dog tutors walking their dogs, and an old couple sitting in front of their house chatting. And then, when we were alone, Nina suddenly started growling. One thing I didn't mention, I'm a graduate in biology and specialized in animal behavior. At the time this story happened, I was finishing college. So yeah, I used to pay a lot of attention to my dog's behaviors and had quite a lot of knowledge on dog behavior because it was my favorite subject in the area. Dogs can see movement much better than us, so things like an eyebrow raise or a little tension on the shoulders, they can easily pick up. So of course, a dog growling doesn't sound that weird. Nina did growl to other dogs and cats when she saw them, but this was different. It was very low, and all the fur on her back was up. Her entire behavior was of alarm. And then I noticed she was looking back while growling. So I looked behind me. In the distance, like a block away, I saw a man. This made me even more alert, because Nina never growled to anyone on the street before. She never stopped walking by my side or tried to pull me away, but she kept this low growl and kept looking at this man. I started to freak out and turn the next block. She stopped for a second, but when we reached the next corner, she started growling again, and he was there again. He didn't try to talk or call me, and his expression was serious and kind of emotionless. I kept walking in random patterns, and he was always there. That man was definitely following me. At some point, our distance started to shrink, and Nina's growling was getting stronger. When I turned the next corner, I just started running while he couldn't see me. I ran down about 4 blocks in the direction of an area I knew had more traffic and people around. I stopped to catch my breath and looked behind me. He was far away, right in the corner where he started running. Just there, standing and looking at me. Nina was looking at him, still with her alarmed posture. After a minute, he turned around and went away in the same direction, and at that moment, Nina finally relaxed. I kept paying attention to Nina's behavior the entire way back to my house, but she was just her normal happy self. I told this story to my parents and a few neighbors, and no one seemed to know of any man that looked like him. I never saw that man again, and Nina never behaved like that again either, so I'll never know who he was or why he was following me. But I definitely do not regret trusting Nina's instincts. So people, please pay attention to your pet's behaviors as much as you can. It's not about a supernatural sixth sense. They can actually feel, see, and hear things better than us. And there's no behavior that happens for no reason. There is always a reason. Stay safe, everyone. Hey friends, I hope you're having a wonderful new year. Thanks so much for hanging out with me tonight. I'm sorry if I sound a little bit sick. I have some sniffles going on, but we're okay. If you like the video and you want to help support me, consider liking and subscribing. It helps me a lot. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you very soon. Please take care of yourself and sweet dreams.